Bitcoin continues to shatter records as a $7 billion volume day came in yesterday. What is today going to look like? Is it going to be more? As three of the top investment companies and banks are now reversing on not offering the ETF, as they are now going to start offering it to their high net worth clients. We're also talking about a big partnership with an Ethereum Layer 2 and Robinhood. We're also got some video from Matt Hogan, the CIO of Bitwise. And we're going to take a look at the charts. Bitcoin is down a little bit. Is this a good entry for BTC? We're going to talk about that and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's get it.
Hola! It's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, and, well, stale information and repackage that thing up in a fun, sexy way. Bitcoin, moving.
Bitcoin dumping.
It's not dumping. It's down 60K. You know, we were down there yesterday briefly, and then we rebounded right back up.
We haven't done that yet.
What? We did it yesterday.
Briefly. I know, but I'm saying yet, today.
Well, we're there now. We're at 60,000.
So we're supposed to rebound? Where's the rebound?
I'm just saying that a little bit about the price is fine. Calm down, okay?
Price is
I don't know where I was going with that. But.
I know where I'm going. I'm going here. I'm going to a new record inflow. By the way, cool name here. Cointucky Derby. I like. IBIT took in a record $612 million on its own on a net basis. The group took in 673. This beats the day one record of 655 million. But look at the volume.
Yeah, look at pull up mine. Look at it. Look at this.
Oh, mine's
volume.
not good enough.
No, I'm just saying. As a
Why did you want to show mine, Rocco? Why did you go to his?
So remember we were talking about these Monday, Tuesday. You had volume that outperformed every day except for opening day. Which is these two candles sick. Here. Look how much volume, and I know you had it there in a graph.
So that's the inception, right? 11?
This is day one. Yeah, 4 billion in volume day one.
How much is Grayscale?
And then Grayscale's volume.
No, on yesterday's.
Yesterday, where's Grayscale? Should
be in green, I believe.
Yeah, Grayscale was 1.8 billion.
Damn.
But I mean, just massive.
So here's the thing, though. Grayscale had the largest outflow it's had in a very long time. So $214 million flowed out of their ETF. But still, we were net 673. That is the highest we've ever had.
Yeah.
And, Rob, we have some potential good news here. Well, a couple things. One, BlackRock is launching their ETF in Brazil on Friday. This is Bitcoin Archive tweeted this. So what do we say? Brazil's the number one economy in South America, right?
It is, yeah.
And then we have this. AP Abacus tweeted, UBS and Morgan Stanley are going to be offering multiple Bitcoin ETFs in March. UBS said client questions and appetite are unavoidable at this point, moving up our timeline. And then Morgan Stanley said the normal 90-day process for new products looks like it's going to shorten to 45 days. Nothing catches their attention like money and volume. Money and volume. Then we have this. Wells Fargo and Bank of America's Merrill Lynch begins offering Bitcoin ETF to their clients. We said this would happen. When everything came out and it said Vanguard said nope, Merrill Lynch said nope, Bank of America said nope, we said once they see how much money they're missing out on, they're going to have no choice. These are companies that are in business to make money. And if there's literally billions of dollars that are flowing into the ETF, which means millions of dollars of fees, you'd be kind of stupid to not put this in front of your clients. What are your thoughts here, Rob?
Not surprised if you're gonna lose customers because you don't offer a product as money and customers leave. It's gonna be a no-brainer, right? You can sit here and push against it, but the market's going to indicate what where these services are going to come from, right? And if I have a grocery store and I say, hey, I don't care, I don't believe in having this product. And it could be something like alcohol, for example. You say, hey, you know what, we're going to be alcohol free, or Walgreens at one point did cigarettes, and then they are going to lose customers to competitors. It's just the reality of it. But it just depends on how big the demand is. Now, if all of a sudden everybody's smoking cigarettes again and it is booming and there's a big cigarette craze, I'm sure Walgreens is going to rethink their position, which I did see cigarettes back at Walgreens again.
You did?
Yeah.
Wait, it was CVS, not Walgreens.
Yeah, but Walgreens did it too, because I remember
you sure?
My ex smoked, and so what ended up happening was they stopped selling cigarettes. And then that was short-lived. It was only for a few months, or maybe like 6 months or something. And then they started selling them again. And I think it's because of that that same scenario we're kind of discussing here with cryptos, that they noticed that they were losing revenue, or they're losing customers, long-term customers, because they would come in there for that routine pack of cigarettes, and then they would go get that elsewhere. So you're seeing here, you're like, hey, we don't believe in crypto. We're fine. Yeah, we don't need that. And then all of a sudden, a percentage of your people start walking.
You see, what had happened was a lot of volume. I'm curious. Gravy Train, what are your thoughts on the ETF? You think Merrill Lynch is making a good move here?
What's the right answer?
Yes.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Insight.
I know.
Wow.
That was my thoughts. I did good.
We're gonna get you some Bitcoin ASAP.
Yeah.
Who's buying it?
You are.
With whose money?
Your money.
Oh.
You'll thank us later. Don't worry.
Got to be a strong, independent woman,
Anyways. About all that.
I want to give a shout out before we move on to our channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how they can help your business scale and grow and maximize your networking, IT, and your cybersecurity, you're going to want to visit bluewiretech.com or click the link in the description of this video. Now, we had a hearing today, the House Financial Services. So this was what they tweeted. It said, rather than executing new laws enacted by Congress, Chair Gensler persistently attempts to circumvent Congress and the APA. Today, we're holding the SEC accountable for his disregard for congressional intent and attempts to stymie digital asset innovation in the USA. What are they talking about? So, House panel votes to disapprove of controversial SEC custody guidance. Now, remember, Robin, we shared news about a couple weeks ago, or last week, that banks put in or sent over a letter to the SEC saying, we want to custody crypto. Do you remember that?
We want our crypto. We want it now.
And seriously, you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I do. And so this is going to get, I was reading this last night, and I know you're going to go through it, but it's going to get denied, right? Like,
I don't know.
It's
that
kind of dead.
The hearing, today's hearing, one of the topics was this. And so what does this come down to? So the SEC put out a staff accounting bulletin, also known as a SAB 121. And what that made banks do is if they custodied cryptocurrency or digital assets, they had to mark it on their balance sheet. Now you might say, well, why is that a negative thing? When they mark it on their balance sheet, that comes up as a liability. So what do they have to do? They have to hold more reserves in their banks to back up what they hold in custody for digital assets. And they just don't want to do that, right? They've been on this gravy train of 0% fractional reserve banking since the pandemic. And now you're telling them, hey, if you want to custody digital assets, you got to have more money in the bank. They're like, well, we don't want to do that. Why do we have to do that if there's other people, other companies that are custodying assets that don't have to do the same thing? And so they're getting pressure from the banks, which again, guys, money talks, right? If people can have an account at Bank of America and they can have their crypto custodied right then and there from an institutions they trust that they've been banking with for decades, Some people might prefer that option to something like Binance or Coinbase. What are your thoughts on that, Robin? And would that be a true game changer? I mean, look at what happened with Coinbase yesterday, right? Everyone freaked out. I had like 3 missed calls. One guy's like, hey, man, oh my God, my crypto's gone.
There's very long thesis first, very simple answer here. Banks are going to custody more than just cash in the way that they do now. You have lock boxes for crypto. They also have portfolio management. They hold stocks, right? There's a suite of services that banks offer, and one of their services is going to be crypto. It's just a matter of when. And so instead of keeping it on your ledger, you're going to have an account at a bank. Now, whether or not you feel like that's a smart move because not your keys, not your crypto, even if another bank has it, they go under and they have control. There's a lot of it's not as clean cut and simple as hey, they're just gonna hold it for me and there's no liability, because obviously unless you custody it yourself, there's always a risk, right? So in the future, it's good. The banks are going to custody crypto. That's it. It's just a matter of when. That's the only question.
You know what's interesting?
If you have diamonds, right? Let's just say you as an individual, you decide, hey, I want to keep up some of my value in diamonds or gold bars, okay, or gold coins or whatever you rename precious collectible, right? Precious metal, commodity. And now let's just say that you're holding it. Where are you going to put it? Not in your backyard, right? I mean, you could, but that's not smart. So you take it down to the bank, right?
Well, you recommend the mattress, right?
I do like the mattress. But you take it down to the bank and you keep it in a lockbox, right? And it's going to be the same. That's just another service that a bank offers. And if you want to have your retirement account, your 401k, you can get all that done through your banking sector, right? You can go down to your Chase Bank and they have their sector that does retirement portfolio management. Same thing with Bank of America. And one of their services that they will eventually offer is crypto, just a matter of when. Now, this right here is exactly what is holding that industry back, right? Now, will all banks get on board on it? No. But if the SEC says, hey, cool, yeah, you know what, banks, institutions, you guys can custody your own crypto. You can custody other people's crypto. That's fine. We're cool with it. Green light. Then at that point, there's going to be banks that pop up that are going to try to take advantage of that market. So,
you know what's interesting is, with the ETF applications, right? The SEC came out and said, you can't do in-kind, you got to do cash create. So what that made these ETF issuers do, so if Robin has $100,000 of the Bitcoin ETF with BlackRock and he decides to cash out, if it was the in-kind option, he can either request the cash or he would request $100,000 in Bitcoin. And he would get the Bitcoin, and now he would be the self-custodian of his Bitcoin. And when you have these banks integrated, hey, now you can have it on your bank. You can give it to Bank of America. Hey, custody my Bitcoin. They're going to make money on a fee. But because the SEC would not allow that, they're essentially not allowing people who hold the spot ETF to eventually become custodians of their own Bitcoin through the ETF. And so how much is that going to harm the banks? We know money is leaving the banking system and entering the cryptocurrency system, more notably Bitcoin. And so that is something obviously the banks don't want. They want money in their system so they can continue to lend it out, make money, and pay you the 0.00025% or whatever they're paying. So will that change moving forward? I don't know. But all I know is where there's money, there's going to be businesses like banks who flock to it. No one's going to leave millions and billions of dollars on the table, especially when it's something that they finally understand, hey, we can't stop this. There's no way, right? Gary Gensler tried? No. Elizabeth Warren tried? No. Joe Biden tried? No. It's not going to happen. It's here to stay. People like it. They're putting money into it. Okay, fine. We throw up our hands. Let's try to make some money and capitalize on it. Speaking of making money and capitalizing on it, got a $10 super chat from Sauce Boss. Said, at this stage in the market, what percentage are you keeping in stables?
I think it just varies. It's on a case-to-case basis. You want to have a little something on the side. But
how much are you keeping in stables? percentage?
I don't know percentage. Probably, I would say roughly.
I'm less than 5%.
Roughly 5 to 10%.
I'm less than 5%. Most of my money got deployed 6 months ago. We have this from Bitcoin Munger. Just one word of caution in the short term. Market makers may look to swipe liquidity at 55 to 58K again. If they do, buy there with both hands. Tough call to say we go there again, given the strength of flows and large liquidations yesterday. But if we do, lots will say it's over while we will be buying. What are your thoughts on this, Robin? Are we at a stage in the market where if we get a 10% drop, people are going to eat it up?
I think I'd say I'm probably 50-50 on us going down to that range, right? I think that on one hand, I look at the previous Bitcoin cycle back in 2020 when we went from 10,000 shot up to 20,000, right? And so if you look at the previous cycle, you had Bitcoin topping out just shy of 20K. Some exchanges hit 20K in 2017. And before we crossed that all-time high again, we had a very strong move from 10 to 20K, and it didn't stop at all, right? Here I'll show you a chart here. And so what I'm referencing, you go to 2017 here. And we topped out at 16.6 here. But when we crossed the previous all-time high in the next cycle, we shot right past it. And we didn't really come back and test it at all. And so let me see here. So when we went from 11,000 in October of 2020, and we rocketed right past the previous all-time high, and we didn't stop until we got to 38,000, and then we came back down to 32. And so big move from 11 to basically the 30,000. We didn't stop in between. And so for me, I just kind of look at our historical data, and I'm like, hey man, I think we're kind of in the same boat here. We shot past. We were down. We shot past, or we're shooting past the previous all-time high, which would be 61,000. We came in from 20. We're gonna shoot past 60, and I think we go up to 70, 80, and then we pull back. I think just off a historical, that's what happened the cycle before. I don't know. What do you think? But I still think there's a decent percentage or chance that we go down to 55. But yeah, looking at the flows of these ETFs, the supply shock, the sentiment, the halving, I mean, it's all pointing to explosive growth. Now, how long-lived is that? I don't know, man. Is this going to be a short pump before a pullback? Then come halving, we kind of cool down for a little bit, and then we really take off again later in the year? I'm about 50-50 on that.
It'll be interesting to see how the volume unfolds for the ETFs. Is 2 or even or 7 or even 2 billion a day, is that something that we can keep up? Probably not, right? I mean, we're almost 8 weeks in, and we just had the highest day that we've ever had as far as volume traded and inflows. What does that look like 3 months from now? What does that look like 3 months post halving? It's probably going to be less than $1 billion. I mean, it also depends. I think Vanguard, if they decide to come around, you got to remember, we talk about how big BlackRock is. Vanguard's right behind them. They're at like $7.1 trillion in assets under management. That's a large pool of investors that currently don't have access to the Bitcoin ETF. Then you have, of course, retail FOMO, which is not even here yet. So it'll be interesting to see how this thing folds, but I definitely think it's a foregone conclusion. We're going to hit a new all-time high before the halving. Can we hit 100K before the halving? Maybe. That's what? The halving, about 45 days away. 100K in 45 days, a $40,000 increase. So about 70% increase. I don't know. I'm at like a 40% chance that happens. Where are you at? 100K before the halving. Percentage probability.
Percentage having, I would say 40%.
Same. You're same as me.
Yeah.
100K before the halving.
Yeah.
I mean, this is unsustainable, right? Now, now of course, we have Mt. Gox. We have the U.S. government. They just moved their Bitcoin. We have potentially people, flowing out of Grayscale again. But it'll be interesting to see is once people are in the super green, are they going to care about paying the extra, 75 basis points to keep it in Grayscale and not take a big tax hit potentially? And then you have stupid posts like this. Bitcoin will hit $10,000 again. We will never see a $10,000 Bitcoin ever again. Mark my words. Never, ever will you see Bitcoin's price at $10,000.
Unless something fundamentally breaks.
Exactly. Yes. Unless something fundamentally breaks on Bitcoin's chain, right?
Yeah.
The proof of work consensus, a 51% attack. The only way we see Bitcoin at
it's
10K.
happened 3 times before. It hasn't happened. The last one was in 2012, so it's been 12 years. It's been up and running with no issue. I mean, you never know. And then you also, you have these BIP proposals that come down the pipeline. And I mean, there's concern that with the inscriptions, which has brought in the ordinals and the NFTs being inscribed on Satoshis, it's caused unforeseen consequences to the Bitcoin network. Now, it didn't suffer any major catastrophic failure or fork, but maybe the next BIP proposal does. And so I wouldn't write it off as absolutely impossible that we don't get some kind of compromise to the network, because if you look over 100, I think if you have a 100-year time horizon on Bitcoin, I think at some point in the next 100 years, there's going to be something else that happens. Now, is it something catastrophic you can't come out of? I don't think so. But I do think that with upgrade proposals, there's going to be more to come down the pipeline. It's possible. But I understand this guy's that guy's tweet there. It's in strict reference to prices and markets, and he thinks that the market is unsustainable. It doesn't add up.
He's over saying 90% of Bitcoin's liquidity is coming from Tether. Anyways.
Yeah, it's the trading pair. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, it is priced in Tether, but you can take your Bitcoin and then go sell it to Coinbase. If you have 100 Bitcoin, you can go to Coinbase and be like, "Hey, I have 100 Bitcoin." They'll give you cash for it. They'll send you a Swift bank transfer, and you don't have to get Tether.
All right. Then we have Matt Hogan, the CIO of Bitwise. He was on CNBC and was talking about the demand and supply dynamics with the ETF and Bitcoin. Let's listen to what he had to say.
This morning, trading just at about 63,000 almost, $62,808. Has now jumped 50% since the start of the year and is nearing its all-time high, with much of that action driven by heavy interest in new spot Bitcoin ETFs. Our next guest helps run one of them. I want to bring in Bitwise Chief Investment Officer Matt Hogan. Good morning to you. When you look at what's been driving this price action on Bitcoin, Matt, how much of this is retail investors investing directly in Bitcoin? How much of it is the ETF? How much of it is institutions in the ETF?
Absolutely. It's a great question. We're seeing enormous demand for the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF and across all of these ETFs. And the answer is it's all of those categories. You're seeing retail investors come into these ETFs. You're seeing hedge funds, you're seeing RIAs or independent financial advisors. I think there's an even bigger wave coming in a few months as we start to see the major wirehouses turn on. But this has been Bitcoin's IPO moment. It's in a new era of price discovery, and I think prices could go substantially higher from here.
Let's talk about where they could go in just a minute, but I just want to go back to this idea of who you think is buying these ETFs, meaning how much of this is retail versus institutions?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when these ETFs first launch, they're not turned on at the major wirehouses, at the major institutions. So the initial demand out of the gate for any ETF, including these, is primarily retail and independent financial advisors. and hedge funds. So I think that's the primary driver. That's what we're seeing. Right. But I'll tell you, after this meeting, I'm getting on a plane to go talk to one of the largest institutional consultants in the U.S. about this ETF. So we're going to see that next wave of institutional capital.
You did mention hedge funds, which I will put in.
So, Robin, he's saying that institutions aren't even in yet.
No. Institutions move slowly. Like, you can't be a publicly traded company. You can't be worth billions of dollars, have shareholders, and then all of a sudden be like, hey, the ETF is live. Let's buy some. Like, you got to take a vote. You got to move your capital around. You have to make sure you're in compliance with the SEC because you're using company funds. Ain't no multi-billion-dollar company YOLOing into, not publicly traded, not taking the treasury or capital or selling off bonds and just quickly moving into Bitcoin. Maybe there's one or two or a handful, but out of the thousands of publicly traded companies, out of the tens of thousands of giant companies that are more progressive here in the States, especially ones that have boardrooms and shareholders, they haven't got in yet. They have not got in yet. And so what we've seen is just the shrimps, right? In Wall Street, you had the traders.
Some big shrimp. Those are the U4s.
Yeah, those are big shrimps. But yeah, it's the ground level retail of Wall Street that got in. It's not, why did Solana get as big as it did? And when it got launched, it was a venture capital, right? Because of the big money in crypto got in on it and behind it. Why did FTX blow up as much as it did? Was because they had a ton of investment from venture capital. Binance lent them billions of dollars. And the list goes on and on. So if you look internally at the crypto sector, the most successful projects were the ones that had the big money behind it, the venture capital and these giant names, these whales. And in Wall Street, those giant names, whales, institutions, and the big players, they haven't even got a hold of it yet. And so what do you think this space is going to look like when they do? When they come around? When, when Apple starts, has Bitcoin and crypto.
Well,
and
they did stop doing the car. They got some free capital now. They're going to put it into BTC. Speaking of putting it in BTC, Jory Zero said, I am new to Bitcoin. Is it still wise to buy now? Jory or Joery, however you say your name, first of all, welcome. Second of all, it's never a bad time to buy Bitcoin if you're DCAing.
Yeah.
We talked, Rob brought this up a few days ago. I brought it up on Gary Cardone's live show yesterday. By the way, that was a great conversation. Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy literally bought the top multiple times, but they continue to DCA no matter what the price was. And now they're over 50% up. So if you're DCAing instead of trying to time the markets, it's never a bad time.
Speaking of whales and giant institutions, I keep seeing this rumor going around, and I had to do a little research. Boy, looking into it, but Jeff Bezos sold $8.5 million worth of his billion worth of Amazon stock.
Okay.
And they're speculating
what?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, here you go. You have Thomas here has tweeted, is Jeff Bezos piling into Bitcoin? Okay, so here's an article. And so this one is this one's more paparazzi stuff anyways. But
yeah, let's click on that real quick.
Hey, but here's the thing. So Bezos is celebrated his birthday on a yacht with with this girl here. But look who's in attendance here. So Seaside Spies say Sanchez, Bezos, movie producer Brian, mogul David, whoever this guy is, and MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor were spotted at the Chick Beach Eatery on Friday night. So he sells $8 billion worth of stock, and then a few days later is on the beach with Michael Saylor.
Who's a conspiracy guy?
And
you?
Hold on. And then a mystery whale buys $1.3 billion in Bitcoin 6 days ago, which 6 days ago. That's Thursday last week. Yeah. Now who's got 1.3 billion dollars to buy Bitcoin?
A lot of people do, Robin.
No,
Actually,
a lot of people
no, a lot
don't.
of people don't.
There's only a few people that have this. And so you look here and you have, they're saying Bezos, Zuckerberg. Is really, it's a very short list of people that have $1.3 billion sitting around to buy Bitcoin.
Interesting. So you think it's likely?
He just sat down with Michael Saylor. What do you think their conversation was? What do you think Bezos and Michael Saylor's conversation was?
They talked about tea and his.
You know exactly what they talked about. Saylor was sitting there looking at him like, "You got $8 billion just sitting in the bank now?" Like, yeah. What you plan on doing with that? How you gonna outpace inflation? And then you know what comes next. It's the long thesis of his of monetary
Bitcoin
policy.
is monetary policy moving at the speed of light.
There you go.
I love Michael Saylor. You know, another interesting thing, Robin. So Edward Snowden tweeted this. A national government will be revealed this year to have been buying Bitcoin, the modern replacement for monetary gold, without having disclosed that fact publicly. There is also speculation in this term that it's potentially the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So, no one's like, so many things are happening and your brain just tries to like put them all together. Institutions and hedge funds and ETF and the halving and nation states and Bitcoin, digital gold. And it's about to overtake silver in market cap. And it's in top 10 of currencies globally. It's making all-time highs against almost every single foreign currency except for the US dollar as of right now. And then you have what you just said, you know, billionaires and Jeff Bezos. It's going to be a fun ride. I hope you guys are strapped in.
Then we also had Kay gave a $5 super chat earlier asking if we think that the bull market will be extended. You know what? I'm a very historic person when it comes to charts, and I just look at it from every cycle lasts a little longer than the one before, and so every cycle you also get less volatility. And so I think that's what's going to happen. So I think we get an extended bull cycle. Now, I don't know about this whole super cycle thing. I do think that you get you get a more of a mitigated crash when it comes to the top. But even then, I don't know until that doesn't happen, until history doesn't repeat itself. I'm going to expect it. I'm going to expect Bitcoin to rally at some euphoric number and then come back down to earth. But part of me hopes it doesn't. Hope we get a steady, sustained growth over time.
That's a really good question because, Bitcoin's doing something it's never done before. It's about to hit an all-time high before the halving. Typically doesn't happen, right? Usually you have a run-up and then mellow, halving, we dip a little bit, and then bam, right? The next 6 to 9 months, we get all-time highs. We're about to get an all-time high and probably more before the halving. So does that mean that where we would typically see a top September, October, November of next year, would we?
But the cycles before the rally came earlier and earlier, and also,
but now we're all time high before
the narrative. No, not that early. But the narrative for the halving wasn't as strong as it is now. And looking back at 2020, where you had post-halving euphoric rise in combination with the printing and COVID, the halving wasn't as focused on, right? It was a thing, it was a theory, it wasn't dismissed, but it was not something that was repeatedly talked about on every single show, on every single narrative. It wasn't like, oh my God, guys, the halving is here, you got to understand what's going to happen. It was a narrative like, yeah, you know what? And honestly, there was a lot of people, I remember watching channels, and they were like, hey, man, this is not good for Bitcoin because the miners are going to have their profits cut in half. There's going to be some issues. And then we were coming out of a scenario where you had the block wars and you had the forks of Bitcoin with Bitcoin Cash. Obviously, that got brushed under the rug, but there was a lot of questions when it came to miners, and it wasn't a foregone conclusion in the past that the halving was going to be a euphoric event. Now, in hindsight, we know exactly what it was, and there was a lot of experts at the time that were like, "Hey, man, this is a supply shock," and they were dead on, spot on, right? But now nobody disagrees. Is there anybody that thinks a halving is bad for when it comes to price?
There actually is, Robin. JP Morgan Chase.
Yeah.
Yeah. They sent out an article. They think post-halving, Bitcoin's going to go down to 40K because the miners are not going to make money.
But there was a lot more sentiment like that. There was a lot more people that thought that because they didn't really do the homework. They didn't understand the supply and demand side of the market, how things worked. And now guys, it's all agreed upon.
The miners, sorry to cut you off.
No, good.
The miners were profitable at 25K. We're now at 60K, right? Supply gets cut in half. You need price to double. Price has already doubled. It's more than doubled. So even if the halving happened today, the miners would still be in profit.
We were talking about this yesterday. Here's the thing. Miners are also looking forward, right? You have 50 days to the halving. Miners are looking forward and they're saying, hey, the halving is coming. We're going to have our revenue cut in half, right? You have to expect it, right? Revenue is going to be cut in half with the halving. Because here's the thing. The day the halving comes, the price of Bitcoin does not double, right?
Correct.
Exactly. And so if the halving is here and it's $110,000 Bitcoin, let's just say, we're not going to go to $220,000 the next week or the next day. And for that reason, the miners need to set capital aside to cover the cost of running and operating a business prior to the halving. And so what do? They take Bitcoin off and don't sell it. I mean, basically they're mining Bitcoin, and instead of turning around and selling it to the exchanges, they're keeping it, right? And it's the same thing. Like if I said, "Hey, David, you're going to have to, your rent is going to double next month, and your car payment's going to double next month. Are you going to spend money that you don't need to this month, right?"
Depends. If it's on crypto, yes.
But the thing is that you're gonna put money aside, right? Or let's just say you didn't set money aside for taxes, right? Let's say you were irresponsible. You didn't set any money aside for taxes, and hey, I got to file my taxes next month or 2 months from now. I'm going to need to pay $12,000 in taxes, right? You are going to be a little lighter on your spending because you got to get that money. You got to set that money aside, right? Same thing with miners, dude. And so what we're seeing here is a situation where the miners know, hey, we're operating at thin margins anyways because the electricity is pricey. The loans on those ASICs are pricey. And then you have all of the infrastructure as far as the warehouse and the land. And they're not operating with a gigantic profit margin. They're not. And so when the profits get cut in half, they got to have some money on the back end. And so what they're doing, they're holding that capital. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. ETFs are asking for a ton of Bitcoin, and there's just not enough being mined, and they're pulling it off order books. I think it's as simple as that, bro. I don't know.
Fair enough. All right, let's jump into the markets. Robin, I hear Bitcoin is moving up a teeny tiny bit. Where are we at?
Yeah, we started the show. We were at 60,000 flat. Now we started the show at 60,500. We're sitting at $61,265. So you can see that it is just range bound right now, and very, very short window on this range. Obviously, we crossed into 60K just a day ago. And so it was, right at midnight a day ago, we got it. We crossed into 60K. Now, but what's really interesting is what's going on in the altcoin markets. So to take a look, you have Bonk up, SHIB up. The meme coins are absolutely ripping right now. 100%. We have a full 2x on Bonk right now. The Solana ecosystem also up tremendously. So if we go back over here to the top 10 here, Solana up 16%, right at $130,
Bro.
up 25% on the week. This thing,
Bro, what if I told you this rally's not over?
I already know it's not over. So you have, he's like, what if I told you the price of Bitcoin was going to go up, Robin? Be like, yeah, I know. Take a look at this rally. We went from $100. We went from $100 3 days ago, and we're at $130 basically. And then you go back on the month chart.
I pulled a Robin though, man.
What's that?
Scared money.
You sold too early? Look at this, man. We went from $20 in September last year to $130, man.
5 months. You could have 6x your money in 5 months.
Bro.
5 months.
That's not even.
That's a double?
That's not even the bottom either. I mean, you can go to the bottom here, man. It is. Remember we hit like $8 or $8? What was it? Yeah. Look at that, $9. Look at that,
dude.
Ugh.
If you bought Solana under $10, you get a round of applause.
Man. So, you have that, but we see these ecosystems pump. Last night I did make a call on Stacks on Twitter.
How's that doing, by the way, Robin?
I think it's flat right now, but yeah, it's still same spot, holding right there at that
2% on the hour. It's pretty good.
So Stacks runs with Bitcoin. Bitcoin rallies. So does Stacks. The two are correlated. Solana rallies. So does Bonk. That is the strong meme coin on their ecosystem, or the strongest. And then you go into Shiba Inu, up 17%, 40% on the week. Also, you had Pepe in here. Doge is up 50% on the week. Like, when you look at the weekly gainers, like, this is... guys... Pepe up 145% on the week. Bonk up 100. Doge up 48. Shib up 39. The strongest performing altcoins this week, 1 and 2 are meme coins.
You know what, Robin?
More than ETH, more than...
I got good news, Robin.
What's up?
Guess what video's coming out today?
Is it a meme video?
It's a meme video. So, you see stuff like Pepe up 140%, Bonk up, Doge up. Might be a little too late to get those 50, 100, 1,000x gains, right? So a lot of people go searching for new coins, and a lot of people get burned because they don't know what to look for and red flags. Well, I made a video specifically for you. Great resources in there. How exactly I go through picking which meme coins are worth me to put some money into and speculate on potentially massive gains. That video goes out to members first. So big shout out to you guys. I think you guys are going to love this video. If you like making money, you're going to really enjoy that video.
The profits are going to pour over. The same way that they pour over from large caps to small caps, they pour over from large cap meme coins to small cap meme coins, right? So these degens out here that put in 5K in Shiba Inu, and they've doubled, or they put 5Ks into Bonk, and now all of a sudden they're sitting on 10K. What do you think they're going to do? Let's be realistic. They're going to cash out, and they're going to throw it into some smaller meme coins. And so right now, if you are eyeballing some small cap meme coins, there's going to be a handful that pop off and outperform everyone's expectations. So you might want to try to identify which ones those may be. Also, I did want to take a look. You also have Arweave up 100%, but Theta up 50% on the week. We did a video on Theta a couple days ago, and in doing research, man, this thing, the promise of Theta, here's the thing. Theta, if you're not familiar with what they do, is they offer video streaming service, right? The video streaming service on the blockchain is a competitor to like YouTube, maybe, or like Netflix. It's more of like a Netflix kind of a competitor, I guess you could say. And they're taking the GPUs from the nodes and the operators. They're basically, you can use your graphics card to help render videos, right? To help stream and to help provide the network infrastructure. Now, interesting thing is that these video cards are very well suited for AI. that's why NVIDIA's popped off. NVIDIA is the largest maker of graphics cards. And initially, the graphics cards were there to make video, right? So NVIDIA started off, hey, we're going to make video cards to process video and to process video game graphics. Theta started off with, hey, we're going to leverage people's graphic cards to process video. And in the same path that NVIDIA took and getting to the top of their market by facilitating AI with their graphics card, Theta's doing the same thing. And so now they've expanded their services outside of video and they're doing AI. And they're leveraging their entire network of nodes that are running graphics cards, and they're undercutting the price of the competitors like NVIDIA and Google. And there is such a big demand for this processing power that is used for AI. There's just not enough going around, right? And so ChatGPT is paying billions of dollars every month to these companies that are processing AI. And now come in a network of graphics cards that are distributed globally that undercuts the cost of some of the big competitors.
Yeah, they're talking about reducing the price by 5x. And you take a look at what Theta did. I don't want to say they pivoted, but they added the AI narrative to what they're doing just like 4 or 5 months after ChatGPT came out. So you've had a lot of companies try to rebrand and hitch themselves onto this AI narrative.
But also think about this. How many people have graphics cards that they purchase to mine Ethereum that are kind of like scratching their heads on what to use that graphic power on? And if Theta keeps growing, I mean, it's up 50% in the top 50 right now. If it keeps growing and moving the way it does, and there's an incentive to provide your graphics card, it's going to be a compounding network effect, right? It's going to snowball, and the token price and the T fuel is going to go up, and there's going to be more incentive to use your graphic card. And as that network grows, more and more companies that use AI are going to be like, shoot, we need more graphics cards, or we need more processing power for this AI, right? And we see that ChatGPT or OpenAI had their video model,
Sora,
that thing is crazy. Bro. That Sora is nuts, man. I was looking at some new videos that they had. Jesus, bro. This thing's gonna flip the entertainment world on its head, bro. I mean, it's an absolute game changer, bro. I mean, look at this, man. Like none of this is real. That person's not real. This city's not real. Why has this guy got a handbag? See, that's how you know it's fake. Because people in Asia, guys don't wear handbags. Just saying.
Wow. How to spot fake videos.
There it is.
By Big Rob.
There it is.
You know, I want to talk about the Solana chart here. So I mentioned the rally's not over. A very key metric just flashed on our Lux Algo price action concepts indicator, and that is a break of structure on the daily. Okay, so this essentially means the pattern follows higher highs and higher lows, and once we clear certain levels, it gives us a break of structure indicator. And the last time we had a break of structure happen in October of 2023. And well, Robin, would you like to know how much Solana rallied after?
How much?
300%.
Wow.
300%. We're seeing that. I mean, you can see just a perfect rejection from this premium zone here, which essentially shows us, hey, we've been overbought. If we take a look at the matrix oscillator here, money flow is green. We aren't yet too overbought on the RSI. But again, this matters a lot less in bull markets. So Solana, I saw someone in the chat ask, can it get to $1,000? Absolutely it can. Absolutely it can get to $1,000. Now, what is the probability? I don't know.
$1,000?
Say about 40 to 50%.
That's flipping the ETH market cap. But obviously, in it getting to 1,000, the entire crypto ecosystem is probably rallying. ETH's a lot higher as well.
So 7x would put it at a $350 billion market cap. Ethereum's at 400.
So right there.
Yeah.
I think
So-
that's a big ask. The dApps just aren't quite there yet. And they have a diverse ecosystem, robust ecosystem, but when you compare it to Ethereum, I mean, you can just look at the layer 2 ecosystem that's built on top of Ethereum, plus all the dApps that are built on Ethereum, plus the NFT, the DeFi. I mean, it's just too robust for Solana to flip it from a user perspective. Now, maybe speculative price, maybe it gets it close, but it's just not going to outperform ETH on the utility. So I don't think it's going to flip ETH. But, I mean, do you think it'll flip ETH?
This cycle, probably not.
I mean, anything's on the table down the road. I think any layer 1 that's gaining momentum, that's been here last bull market, it's here this bull market, and it'll be here in the next one, I think has a potential, right? Whichever one the market decides to run with is going to be the winner.
You know, guys, I use these indicators all the time, and I just want to give a shout out to Lux Algo. They're constantly updating. Their indicators are so practical and useful. You don't even have to necessarily make any changes, and you can just plug and play, and it literally, like the price action here, it tells you, are we in an equilibrium zone? Are we in a premium zone, good buy zone? Are we in overextended zone? You see these order blocks here. What is the majority of trading here, and what percentage of the trading is happening? You can see here at this price level, right around $88, you're seeing over $79 million in volume of order blocks. And you can see here, is it mostly buying? Is it mostly selling? Typically, these are great zones, support and resistance zones. And so if you want to use some of these indicators, we do have a link pinned to the top of the comments section. If you're a Sin City crypto community member, you get 20% off. If you're a Whale member, though, they were kind enough to do 40% off for our Whale members. So big shout out to all of our Whale members, and big shout out to Lux Algo. They're a sponsor of this channel, and we love having them as a sponsor of this channel. I did mention in the beginning that we have some Robinhood news. Robinhood Wallet is teaming up with Arbitrum to expand access to layer 2s. Today at ETH Denver, Robinhood and Arbitrum announced a collaboration that simplifies the path to layer 2s by giving Robinhood Wallet users access to Arbitrum swaps through decentralized exchanges. By opening access to Arbitrum's advanced scaling solutions, Robinhood Wallet users can now take advantage of low-cost transactions and fast speeds on one of the most popular networks in the crypto ecosystem. Robinhood is a massive centralized, call it an exchange. Rob, what are your thoughts on this news here? I mean, this is pretty, I would argue this is probably bigger for Arbitrum, correct? I feel like Robinhood's already, it cemented itself as very retail friendly, even though I don't like it.
Arbitrum still new in the game, right? Maybe not as fresh as some of these other ETH layer 2s, but still relatively new. And there hasn't been any gigantic partnerships out of Arbitrum. What are the other ones?
Optimism, Starknet.
And so there hasn't been one front runner that's just nailed gigantic partnerships. Now you can look at Polygon. Now Polygon, not quite in the same category, but operates within the bounds of the Ethereum ecosystem. And it is more of an alternative to developers and users that might try to subvert the high gas fees. Also, Polygon's got a lot of big names too. But out of this little circle with Optimism, Arbitrum, and Starknet, I think there's been a lack of giant partnerships, and this is very interesting, right? Because I think there's going to be one leader, and I don't want to say one winner, because I think that there's going to be a space for multiple layer 2s on ETH, but definitely one standout leader, and maybe Arbitrum is it, right? Well, partnership, they get a few more of these, they will be the leader in this area, right?
Yeah, it's intriguing to me that Robinhood is going the route of adding some form of decentralization to their app, right? So if you have Robinhood Wallet, it's like having the Coinbase wallet, right? You can connect it to Uniswap, MetaMask, whatever the case may be. You can custody your crypto there. It's kind of like a MetaMask. And now Robinhood, with their millions of users and billions of dollars on the platform, they're now going to have access to the Ethereum ecosystem.
I know we dismiss Robinhood as a major exchange, but that's exactly what they are.
I don't like Robinhood, but I'm not stupid.
You know what? I've had several conversations recently where people still have their accounts on Robinhood and they're just happy there, and they're expanding their token listings on there as well. And I know back in 2020 when Robinhood really kind of started taking off with the printing, the great printing of COVID, we had Robinhood only had like 3 or 4 tokens. Had ETH Classic, Bitcoin Cash, and I think Dogecoin, and that was it. Right? It was like 5 tokens. And now I don't know how many they offer. Let's take a look. Let's see here. So they offer Litecoin, Dogecoin, but this one's old though. I know they have a lot more now, but
I have the app on my phone.
I do. Oh, they have Avalanche, Litecoin, Uni, XLM, Aave, SHIB. So there's a lot of different. Let's see here. Robinhood, where's their crypto at? Oh, here we go. And it's frozen. Okay. Anyways, they're expanding basically where it's at. So we'll leave it there. Don't dismiss them.
I'm trying to log in because I can see from here. Dismiss. All right. Here we go.
And then, guys, if you are new here, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. We have a few new people. We have Steven Diaz, also AYC19, Skeezy, Rick McKee, Mario Canavan, Road Glide, Steven Diaz, BMX, and to all of you, also Martin Kelly as well, all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
So you got Bitcoin, ETH, Doge, Avalanche, Chainlink, Uniswap, SHIB, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, XLM, Aave, Tezos, and Compound.
Which is a far way
more than
where they were in 2020 when they only had 4 or 5 assets.
Yeah. It was literally 4.
Yeah.
Why is Bitcoin Cash always included in there? You know, same on PayPal. Bitcoin Cash.
Well, the thing was it was a big deal. I mean, Bitcoin Cash was in the top 5 in 2018 when they first forked. I mean, there was a lot of discussion. You got to think that there was legitimate concern or there was a legitimate consensus here. I would say that by a large amount of people that had agreed this is Bitcoin chain, right? If you keep mining on the smaller blocks, that's not Bitcoin. And so, yeah, I mean the traditional fork, the first fork, the smaller blocks won out. It's very interesting, man, because at some point this is going to happen again, right?
Oh yeah.
There's going to be some disagreement in the network. The system will fork, and then it really depends on where are the miners going to go. Because only one can live, and the other one will just slowly die and fizzle out.
So why hasn't Bitcoin Cash slowly died?
It has been slowly dying. Like I said, it was a top 5. It was a top 5 token, and now I mean Bitcoin Cash is sitting at number 19, and so I mean $6 billion market cap, but I mean the order books are very, very, very shallow on that compared to the other top ones. But if you go to the historical snapshots and you look at 2017 here, just pick a random week, November 2017. Look at that. Bitcoin Cash was number 3. And you know it's, and the market cap was $20 billion. So I mean it is slowly dying. Oh yeah.
Die faster. I want to give one more shout out to our channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how they can help your business scale and grow, visit bluewiretech.com. A big shout out to you for watching. Members, you get your video in about 10 minutes. One of my favorite videos I've done. It's going to help you make a lot of money. All we ask is help us. Help other people find the video. It's going to help a lot of people make money and help a lot of people not lose money on rug pulls. Also, go follow us on Twitter at SinCityCrypto1. If you haven't joined our Discord, join our Discord. You'll find all of our official links in there. Some great conversations. Rob and I pop in there. Rocco's in there. We got to get Ashley in there. You got Discord, Ashley?
No, should I make one?
Yeah. You're part of the team.
It's like an Instagram, but more boring.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow. What a great vote of
There
confidence
you
there,
go.
Robin. Wow.
Sounds
You're
really
a good
fun.
salesman.
Trying
man.
to translate Discord.
Translate.
Trying to translate Discord.
Good
to,
translation, man. Where'd you learn it from? School?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So smart.
You are
Guys, tomorrow we got Forrest joining us. It's always a good show when he joins us. He was in the chat earlier.
Yeah.
Forrest, if you're still here, what's up, brother? Miss you. Can't wait for tomorrow. And anything else, you guys, before we scoot on out of here?
I'm good.
I got nothing.
Rocco,
What?
you good?
No.
He's not good. Are you ready?
What do you mean?
Called the Flappy Tornado. Guys, thank you
Lots
so much for tuning in. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Make sure come back tomorrow. Same place, same time. Until then.
Sin City,
Nothing.
crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I?